Welcome everyone to another deep dive into the world of lease agreements. Today we're exploring how you can navigate leases with confidence, especially with the new retail leasing code in play. So let's jump in.
Absolutely. Leases can be really intimidating at times, right? But it turns out there's a lot we can do to demystify those clauses in fine print, especially when it comes to both residential and commercial settings.
Right, it's like unlocking a secret code for a more balanced relationship between
Yeah,
landlords and tenants. And we're even talking about retail spaces where the PropNex commercial retail tenancy agreement sets a new standard.
exactly. And this standard agreement isn't just paperwork, it's a tool that helps ensure everyone is on the same page. From the basics of lease agreements to the specifics of code compliant terms, there's a lot to cover.
So let's start from the beginning. Leases are, well, essentially contracts that outline the rights and responsibilities of both parties, covering everything from repairs to
Right?
deposits. And it's especially crucial that both landlords and tenants understand these elements.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that while many find the contract overwhelming, properly understanding it can empower you in negotiations or disputes, even in contentious scenarios.
Absolutely. Speaking of contentious, anyone who's dived into a lease disagreement knows just how messy things can get. It's a situation where even small oversights in the contract can
Mm,
lead to big disputes. So having a clear, fair lease is a game changer.
right, and for our friends in retail, the PropNex commercial retail tenancy agreement is really important. If you're in that sector and you're about to sign or renew a lease, you need to request that standard agreement. It's built to be in line with that new leasing code that took effect on February 1st, 2024.
Exactly. It's like a one-stop shop for ensuring compliance.
Yeah.
Because even if you're renewing under the same terms, there's still a chance to update things to align with the new code.
Yeah, and that's critical because renegotiating can actually lead to a more balanced, fair relationship. I mean, it's not just about revisiting numbers, but also ensuring all terms meet the updated standards.
Right on. And speaking of fairness, the newer retail leasing code is all about a more symbiotic ecosystem between landlords and tenants, really trying to balance power.
Mm.
It encourages renegotiation of terms even when renewal options are in place.
I like that idea. It shifts the focus from a one-sided contract to a more collaborative agreement. But can we dive a bit into the structure of this new code?
Sure thing. The code is divided into four parts. Part A focuses on the overall conduct and negotiation spirit, ensuring both
Right?
parties are entering negotiations with a fair intent.
And then there's Part B, which lays out 13 clear principles of fair tenancy, right?
Yep, exactly. And these principles cover things like exclusivity, security deposit details, and rental formulas. They are designed to prevent any sneaky clauses that might tilt the balance.
Yeah.
But there's an interesting nuance here. If parties agree to deviate from any of these principles, they need to submit a declaration to the Fair Tenancy Industry Committee within 14 days of signing.
That's a really smart move. It mandates transparency right from the get-go, ensuring both sides aren't hiding any significant changes. It's like having an open book policy on lease tweaks.
Exactly. Now, Part C of the code, which deals with dispute resolution and enforcement, really emphasizes how to handle conflicts when things go south. This is crucial if you're managing repairs, deposits, or even sales data disputes.
Yeah, disputes can be tricky. You've got issues like disagreements about repairs or even the correct calculation of rent adjustments if the floor area is off. It's so vital that both parties agree on adjustment methods, especially if a surveyor's certificate indicates a difference.
Right, and Part D of the code even includes a checklist. This checklist has to be completed by whoever drafts the lease, usually the landlord, and then shared with the tenant along with the first draft. It's a neat way to make sure nothing gets overlooked.
That checklist, in my opinion, is one of the most actionable elements. It's like having a blueprint so that both parties know what to expect from the very start. And it simplifies the process immensely.
Totally. There's also a critical point about tenants not being charged for the initial lease draft if the landlord provides a standard, code-compliant version, provided no additional changes are requested.
Yeah,
Keeping costs transparent is a key part of fairness.
absolutely. And then there's the whole aspect of security deposits. The new standards require that the lease clearly outlines how much is paid and under what conditions the deposit will be returned, leaving no room for ambiguity.
Right? And that clarity extends to issues like floor area calculations for retail spaces. For any retail premise with an area of 300 square feet or more, you need a surveyor's certificate confirming the area before handover. And if there's a variance, the lease must explicitly state how the rent is adjusted.
That makes sense because, miscommunication about space can easily lead to disputes. The specificity just helps avoid that stress.
Exactly. Now, another interesting part is the stipulation about maintenance and repairs. The code clearly states that landlords are responsible for major structural maintenance, and they can be held liable for tenant losses if they're grossly negligent.
I find that pretty fair. It places real accountability on the landlords, which is important for a balanced relationship. But what about the confidentiality aspect, especially if rent is tied to sales performance?
Great question. Principle 13 addresses that. Both parties must keep sales data confidential, though landlords should, under certain conditions, share relevant data with the tenant, like at the start of the lease and then biannually if sales-linked rent is involved.
Right.
This ensures that both sides are in the loop and that sensitive information isn't misused.
Now, I do want to respectfully challenge one point. Some might argue that having to share sales data biannually poses a risk to tenant confidentiality. Don't you think that could be a bit invasive?
That's a valid concern, but the code makes some allowances. It ensures that confidentiality obligations apply equally to both parties. So, if a landlord is privy to sensitive sales figures, the tenant gets the same guarantees in return. It's well balanced, though I can see why it might raise eyebrows initially.
I get that. It basically reinforces trust between both parties, which is essential when you're negotiating long-term leases.
Exactly. And speaking of negotiations, agents play a massive role in all this. They need to be fully aware of the checklist, the 13 principles, and the specifics of the standard code-compliant agreements.
Yeah.
Whether you're advising a landlord or a tenant, understanding these details can really make a difference.
Right, and agents should also caution clients about steering away from the code. If someone wants a non-compliant lease, it's crucial to get that in writing along with a suggestion to consult legal advice.
Spot on. Non-compliance isn't a minor issue. It can get reported to the Fair Tenancy Industry Committee, which is something no one wants. And when all's said, knowing your limits and getting expert help is always the best route, especially if disputes arise.
Exactly. It's like when you're working with something as complex as a legal contract, nobody should try to handle it entirely on their own. Having a lawyer who understands these nuances is vital.
Right. And then there's that final call to action, especially for our retail clients. If you're about to sign a lease or renew one, be sure to request the PropNex Standard Agreement. It's a practical resource, ensuring you're compliant from the get-go.
And it works as a safety net, really. In a landscape where lease disputes or issues over maintenance and transparency can become major headaches, this agreement is like a preemptive remedy to avoid those pitfalls.
Absolutely. So really, what we're discussing today is not just about the legalese in a lease, but about creating a fair, transparent framework that benefits everyone involved: landlords, tenants, and even the agents intermediating these deals. It's a move toward a more balanced market.
Totally. And it's fascinating how these detailed guidelines, like the disclosure of third-party costs or the standard procedure for lease preparation, reshape the way we approach lease negotiations.
Yeah, it's like turning what used to be a murky, confusing document into something you can actually work with, understandable and actionable. Every clause, from exclusivity to repair responsibilities, is designed to protect both sides and foster cooperation.
And honestly, when you break it down this way, it makes the whole process less intimidating and more of a structured dialogue. Do you think this kind of transparency and clarity might even change the way lease agreements are perceived in the future?
I believe so. It's, like peeling back layers of uncertainty. Instead of seeing leases as static, overwhelming contracts, they become dynamic tools, resources that
Right.
support sound decision making. It's really empowering for everyone involved.
Yeah, it's all about empowerment. The moment tenants and landlords understand their rights and responsibilities clearly, they're much better equipped to handle any potential issues that might arise.
Absolutely. And for agents, this means not only being advisors, but also educators. It's about ensuring clients have eyes wide open when they step into a
Yeah.
lease negotiation. Being informed can transform the entire experience.
So, as we wrap up, it feels like this new, more transparent leasing framework is a win for both parties. And it's a reminder to revisit your existing agreements to see if they stack up against these principles.
Right on. And as always, if complex issues or disputes arise, remember that seeking proper legal counsel is key. It's an exciting time for lease negotiation, a true move towards a fairer playing field. Thanks for tuning in, and here's to navigating leases with confidence.